What's up everyone, Brent from Brenspeed here. I want to talk to you about how much we bought the High Mile Mustang for. So this was kind of like a plan we had in place, and we did like a lot of what you may do. Is we looked on eBay, we shopped around online, and we were trying to find the perfect high mile car for this build. And what's crazy is we could find some high mile Mustangs that were manual transmissions, but that's not what I wanted for what we want to do with this car. So I wanted to find a 300A automatic, and that is basically a no option automatic Coyote Mustang. So we ended up, I believe it was on cars.com. So through doing searches on cars.com, I was able to find something like this right here. And it was actually a color I liked, and it was a clean car. They said a clean Carfax. And this right here is the Carfax for the car. And what's nuts about this is I only live like 5 miles from work, so I don't drive that much. But this Mustang had 163,000 miles on it, and they were driving from the Carfax about 30,000 miles a year, I think. And there were some years they drove more than that and some a little bit less. But I think what blows my mind is, like, who drives a car like this for like a company car? So it's not uncommon to find a high mile newer car that has a lot of miles on it, but you know, who drives a Mustang for business? And I think that's exactly what someone did, because when you get in the back seat of this car, it looks like no one's ever been in it. I mean, they definitely weren't hauling kids around. This wasn't a family hauler. This is definitely a car that wasn't used for any sort of service or anything like that. I mean, the Carfax shows you that. It wasn't a government vehicle. It wasn't a police car. It wasn't a taxi or something crazy. But it was a car that was driven like all the time, but it was very well maintained. And that's why I like the Carfax report. Let me know what I was gonna buy was a really good car. So this was running right between $9,000 and $10,000. So you can go out and find a high mile Coyote in that price range. Now I had to look really, really hard, and we had to drive to go get this. There's not a lot of them out there, but I think as time goes on, you're gonna be finding more cars like this that you can, you know, buy that's much more affordable when you want to build a race car. The Coyote Foundation is over 100 more horsepower than a 3-valve. I love 3-valve Mustangs. I've done so much with them. I raced them for so many years. But to start out 100 more and then build upon that, Coyote's really the way to go. So if you take a look inside this car right here, it is base model, which I don't mind. And I'm gonna have some more videos coming up on some things I'm gonna do to maybe tailor this car more towards something I like. But the seats in this car are one thing I noticed right when I got in it. They were a little bit worn. So, not worn in the aspect of ripped or anything like that. You can just tell from sitting in this car, it just feels like someone's been sitting in it for 160,000 miles. Won't bug me going down the track. If I was gonna drive this car every single day, I might do a little something about it, but honestly, it's probably nicer than a lot of the cars out there with a little bit less miles. Like I told you earlier, the back seats don't even look like they've ever been set in before. And something else I noticed when I first test drove this car was the shifter was super loose. So automatic Mustang, I drive them all the time. I know exactly what the shifter is going to feel like. Most of the cars I drive don't have that many miles on them. This thing just definitely felt like 160,000 miles when you pull it through the gears. Doesn't affect the way the car runs. When we went and test drove the car, it was extremely quick. You could tell it's been maintained. We had Carfax records. It felt like a normal Coyote you would go by with very low miles on it. The body on the car is really good as well. Let's get out and take a look at a couple things on the body. This car doesn't really have any rust on it, and I expected when I went and looked at this, I'm like, okay, this car is gonna have dents, it's gonna be really beat up. I mean, it's less than $10,000. It's got 160,000 miles. I was super pleased with the way it looked. Engine compartment was super smoked as far as dirt goes. We detailed that, came out great. But the body just had a couple little things. There's not really any dings on it. Right here, probably hard to see in the video, little scratch right here, whatever. I can totally live with that. I'm using this car for racing. I'm gonna use this car for driving around the street. I don't really care about something like that. It already had tinted windows, but besides that, the car was a 100% bone stock, which is something I wanted. I didn't want to find a car with high miles that even had aftermarket exhaust on it. I wanted a 100% stock car to do this video series on. So this is the High Mile Mustang. Like I said, you look around, you can find these for under $10,000. It's a cool car. You want to look for a clean Carfax history. You want to find something that hadn't really been abused for as many miles as on this car. Literally someone got in it and just drove and drove and drove. I really don't think, from the way the compression check came out and the way the engine inspection went and the way everything went that we looked at on the car, I don't really think the car was beat that hard, if at all. And honestly, the first couple dyno pulls we did with stock, the smell of the car felt like the catalytic converters and everything had some buildup inside of it that really hadn't been driven hard. And here you have it, the High Mile Mustang. Why don't you leave a comment? If you have a high mile car, maybe you can tell me about how many miles it has on it, or if you bought it, maybe how much you bought it for. This is under $10,000. I'm curious on how much other high mile Mustangs are going for out there. And then don't forget to subscribe, because we have a lot of other new videos coming out, a little behind the scenes on the High Mile Mustang, plus racing videos and actual builds on this car. Thanks for watching.